Well, I've already done one video about Liz Truss, but to be honest, at the rate that Liz Truss is basically imploding and seems very much determined to do the fastest ever speedrun of, well, UK Prime Minister, by the time this video goes out this evening, she could very well be not in that position. So I figure might as well get my Liz Truss content in while I can at least still get it in when she's still relevant. And who knows how long that will even be. Obviously, last night she came out and apologized and said that, oh, I will continue to lead the Tories into the next general election. But for all we know, that could be next week. It could be even next month at this point. And almost certainly there are those Tories who will not want her in that running at all. She has been an absolute and completely utter disaster. And you know what? I don't like Dominic Cummings, but I'll tell you this, he got it right. He absolutely got it right that the second Truss was going to be in office, she would just absolutely implode. And what exactly happened? She imploded. And oh boy, did she implode. So, round of applause for what it's worth to Dominic Cummings for, well, calling it like it was. But we're going to go over to this piece in the East Anglia Byline Times because not even Liz Truss's own local party actually supports her, which just goes to show you how unsuitable Liz Truss was for the highest office we have in the UK and should be asking some very serious questions as to why they keep on putting such idiots into these offices. But before we do go diving into that today, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And of course, there is the YouTube thank you button as well down below. And of course, the YouTube subscription, where you get to join the Pony Club and you can get all bells, whistles, and all sorts when you sign up to that. So, as we said, onwards we go today to the East Anglia Bylines with their title of Exclusive. Local Tories find Truss clueless and out of her depth. Well, she's certainly out of her depth as in the job as PM. So, many members of Truss's own local Conservative association find her clueless, lacking in intelligence, and out of her depth, but are unwilling to speak out in public for fear of reprisals. The EBA has been talking to disgruntled members of South West Norfolk Conservative Association to gauge the opinion of those who know Truss best. Though there is little sympathy on the whole, the picture which emerges is that of a distant, willful figure, uninterested in her constituents' problems and all too self-obsessed to take advice. With one person saying she has a big opinion of herself and won't listen to anyone. And according to one discontented member, it is claimed that those in the local association who don't support her are sidelined and are, quote, not allowed to talk about her. With warnings not to speak to the press, the discontents are quite open about fearing reprisals, saying, locally, we know what will happen when the turnip Taliban came out against her, and the CCHQ doesn't play fair. So, the Turnip Taliban was a mocking title given to those party traditionalists who objected to having fostered upon them a wannabe highflyer who made her entry into the Conservative politics via an affair with a married MP. But their concerns were overridden, and Truss was parachuted into her Norfolk constituency as part of David Cameron's efforts to wipe up what Theresa May had called the Nasty Party. It seemed an odd fit from the outset. It's a safe Tory seat, a flat and sprawling rural area with only 3 small market towns to represent the bright lights, and Truss had no previous connection with it. But from the outset, she set about making it her springboard into national politics. And apparently, she once declared to a school assembly that she had no interest in becoming Prime Minister, that she wanted to be the first woman Chancellor of the Exchequer. It was agreed that the constituency matters never really seemed to interest her, and that they were about as housing or even bus timetables, not on the stuff to which build a new ministerial career. Respondents echoed other residents describing Truss as distant, hard to get a hold of, entirely unsupportive, and lacking in empathy. One comment was this: well, if she helps the country as much as he helps her constituents, then the country is totally stuffed. There is a feeling opinion among the constituents has worsened over the last few weeks. Voters who weren't really political but had always naturally voted Tory are beginning to question whether Truss should even be an MP at all. Some local people thought that she wouldn't be any worse than Boris, so it had to be an improvement, though others remained staunch Johnson supporters. There is a general sense of sadness and discontent among Tory members, complaining that the party has changed in recent years and not for the better. Mostly they blame Truss. One observed, "There's nothing left but an oil slick, which is mainly dirty water. She hoodwinked her supporters, who are nothing but sycophants, so they can't see it." But how did she get us into this present mess? She set up a cabinet full of dull newbie friends who don't know what they're doing, so she was the top dog. Beyond surrounding herself with nodding dogs, the discontented members are now unsure of actually how we got into this position. Some believe that she is someone else's puppet, directed from behind the scenes, and isn't making these decisions herself at all. They believe that she has been set up as a scapegoat to prepare the way for someone else, or even perhaps a return of Boris. If that were true, then according to one respondent, it's, quote, time we found out who holds the strings, and if it's the latter, it's the sneaky and cruel, and both Liz and the country deserve better than that. It is interesting, though, that these are the Conservative Party members that have a common theme, and that is that it is no longer the politicians who run the country. It's bankers, oligarchs, and the super rich who aren't interested in the lives of ordinary people. Whatever is really going on, one observes that it is no longer a joke, that that it's a complete monetary disaster. So, as to the local association, they find, pardon me, they find that where it goes after is anyone's guest. You couldn't call the local Conservative association vibrant or even brimming with support, but there are good people there being silenced because they have questioned the motives of their leader. So that's very interesting, to say the least, that Liz Truss is acting in such a way that certainly, and even the powers that be at the Conservative HQ are even moving to silence her own local constituents. It would be very interesting to see whether these comments, shall we say, start to make more waves beyond just the local constituency. And it's also interesting to point out that you have a lot of these, constituents and members of the Conservative Association sure that Liz Truss is a puppet, but the question is, a puppet of who? And we've said it before. Liz Truss is just the puppet of the ERG. She was put there because she was popular and because they thought that she would be able to get their policies through. And as we have seen, their policies have caused absolute economic chaos. And the question is now, you've got Jeremy Hunt, who is not a supporter of these ideas. What happens next? Because she's got no authority. And as an authorityless prime minister who was elected and she was said she would do these type of things, she has become a completely lame duck. Now, are the Conservatives going to be happy with that? Well, they might have to be if they want to survive maybe another 2 years. Maybe at least limp on until the next general election. There may be some in the party who are sort of happy to do that, but others in the party are going to be desperate to get rid of her. And trust me, I think she will be gone sooner rather than later. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Like I say, please do remember to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, we'll see you all very soon.